Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the never seen, if seen, never survived, the two-handed, nope, the one-handed Darklord guide. Hey guys, so welcome to the one-hand and shield Darklord guide, as I said earlier, and finally I had the time and enough knowledge to make that guide about this one-hand defense Darklord. So as always, I'm gonna go through the different builds, soul skills, artifacts, gear, and skills. But before I do that, I'm gonna give you an overview about this Darklord. Especially also, I'm gonna be able to compare this one to the two-hand Darklord. And yeah, so let's start with the overview. First of all, if you're someone who wants to appear on the damage ranking on the left, don't go for this Darklord. At the moment, it's possible, especially with the solo build, expert build, which I have at the moment. You will be able to get into the rankings, but later, if the DPS classes have their artifacts on level 100 or 100-ish and decent equip, you will most likely deal maybe 5% of the party's damage. So if you are the type of person who wants to be in the ranking and also deal a lot of damage, don't go for one-hand and shield Darklord. Now let's compare the one-hand shield Darklord with the two-hand Darklord. What is good, or in which content is the one-hand Darklord better than in the two-hand Darklord? So in my opinion, the one-hand Darklord is definitely better than the two-hand Darklord in contents like Tower and Blood Castle, especially because of his zone control. It's much easier to divide, split up, and CC the mobs depending on the situation with a one-hand and shield Darklord. For example, yesterday we managed to break get the highest floor in our server with 3 people, and we had 2 melee and 1 range only, but still we made it to 62. I didn't deal actually that much damage, or any damage. I want to say any damage. I dealt some damage, but the damage wasn't the important thing why we got that far. It was the zone control. As I said, with the one-hand and shield Darklord, we have a lot of zone control. But in epic dungeons, I have the feeling the two-hand Darklord is much better, because you don't really need a tank at the moment. The epic dungeons are with the good gear, especially if you have party members around this CP and the good gear. You don't need a tank at all if they can move, if their movement is good enough. So if you want to do a content with zone control or higher difficulty, definitely the one-hand and defense Darklord will be more helpful than the two-hand Darklord. But at the moment, as I said, for the epic dungeons, the two-hand Darklord is definitely better. And also in the PvP, I tried yesterday some PvP, and none of the DPS class can kill me. I only lost to Darklords with one-hand and shield, obviously, because I wasn't be able to kill them, and they weren't be able to kill me. So the time ran out and I lost the match. So I think in PvP the one-hand and shield Darklord will be decent or really strong. At the moment we have only the AI PvP, so as I said, two-hand Darklord still better for the most of the content. Okay, let's start with the soul skills guide. What do I have here for the soul skills? Obviously, those stats here are not that important for a defense Darklord. They are more offense stats. So we're gonna go here and check this. We definitely need the 60 points here in the defense. That's what I did first, because the first unlock is increased defense by 3% every time you get attacked, so up to 9% defense increase. And as a defense Darklord with good aggro control, you need defense to survive. Then we have the tenacious energy, which converts 5% defense to attack, which will help us to hold the aggro a little bit longer. Still, you need a little bit damage to hold the aggro. And we have the evasion. I'm going for the 60 evasion first. So the 30 evasion unlock creates a chance to restore 5% max HP, and that's really important, especially because look at my HP pool. It's 152k. So, and the expert or the greater recovery potions will give me only 39,000 HP. That's nothing compared to my HP pool. So, I need survivability, I need heals, and I can't always use my or take all of my heals with me, depending on the content where I do. So that's why I need this one, and also this level 60 evasion will be helpful because of the 5% increased evasion rate below 20% HP. It will boost my survivability. After I'm reaching 60, I'm gonna go for the 30, as I said, for the same reason. My HP pool is too big and I need some survivability, especially in solo Lupus Labyrinth above 40 or 39. We're at the moment at 39 Lupus Labyrinth, so we managed to get to 39 yesterday with this build, and I need some healing. Mercy. So, after putting 30 points here, I'm gonna max out defense and evasion. But that's gonna take a while. So, basically, you should go for defense 60 first, evasion 60 first, health 30 first, then after those two here, and then max out defense and evasion. Okay, so let's talk about the artifacts, guys. There are 3 artifacts which are good with or good for a defense Darklord. The first one is endurance. At the beginning, you can either go for endurance or for rainbow, as always. Rainbow, the all-rounder, and endurance will increase your defense every time you get hit, similar to the level 30 unlock on defense soul skill. So this is gonna boost your survivability. The rainbow will give you, with a little bit luck, more evasion, and so here you're gonna get more defense, and here you're gonna get evasion. Both are good to stay alive a little bit longer, and this can also give you CC immunity and attack speed. So yeah, those two are really good starter artifacts. If you have a lot of evasion later, you can also go for Allegro. Allegro will, every time you dodge 2 times in a row, decrease the amount of attack and defense from surrounding enemies. So on a highest level, on level 100, it will decrease their attack and defense by 50% for 3 seconds, which is insane, but you need a decent amount of evasion stats. So I would say around 30%. Okay, so those are the 3 artifacts, and at the moment I'm going most of the time with the rainbow. It feels much safer, even if there is a little bit RNG, it feels much safer with the rainbow. I tried out Allegro, and level 31 is still not enough to feel the difference, and yeah, so maybe I'm gonna switch to Allegro on around level 50. But I'm gonna stick with rainbow first. The reason why I'm not going for endurance at the moment is I have really good shield block rate and evasion rate, and I'm not focusing on defense. So the evasion increase will boost my survivability a little bit more than the defense increase. As soon as I have more defense, I could consider to go for endurance too. So there is no the best artifact, as always, guys. There are 3 good artifacts, and depending on situation, you should swap around. Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is, or are stats you needed, and the gems. So let's start with the stats, and it's easy to explain if I open the stats menu here and my items. So let's go first through the items. So which items do you need, or which items are best in slot for the defense Darklord? So I don't have the best in slot earring. The best in slot earring for defense Darklord is or for every class actually, is the Lost Dragon Eye. I don't have it. I want to have it, but I was not lucky. This one, Dragon Slaughter Necklace, is the best necklace for every class, and yeah, so this is the one you should aim for. And the best ring is the Overwhelming Life Ring, and it's best for every class. So those 3 are, the 3 I mentioned are the best in slot for every class. You should try to get those. And they are actually pretty expensive because of that. Okay, so the best in slot main weapon is the Dragon Knight Scepter, especially because of the 10% shield block rate. You can see, guys, I'm close to 45% shield block rate. I will be around 49% if I use this spell. I'm gonna explain it later on if I go through the skills. The best shield is the Dragon Slaughter shield. It's gonna give you damage increase to Elite boss and the additional 10% shield block rate. There is no best in slot shoes. As long as your shoes have evasion rate and cooldown reduction, it's good. And also try to get the cooldown reduction and on your shield and crit rate on your best in slot weapon. Okay, so for the chest and for the bottom, there is not best in slot. I have here the set items, and the most important stats are here evasion. Try to get evasion on both of those. I have evasion on both of those, and also you need cooldown reduction. I'm missing cooldown reduction on my bottom, but it's hard to reroll stats on a set item. As soon as I have the items for it, I'm gonna reroll the HP recovery to cooldown reduction. And for the helm, there is the Dragon Knight helm, which is best in slot. I don't have it at the moment, but also on that one, you should try to get crit rate on it or cooldown reduction. The best shoulders for the shield Darklord is the Lost King's borders, which will give you additionally 10% block rate, and reroll the second or the only rerollable stat to cooldown reduction. Okay, and for the gloves, it doesn't matter if you're two-hand or the one-hand Darklord, go for this one, Dragon Knight Gauntlets. So this is gonna give you extra damage to Elite boss damage, more HP, and reroll the third stats to crit rate, as always. Try to get crit rate on helm and gloves, and evasion on those three, if possible, or you should try to get it, and here you should have cooldown reduction. And if you have the stats I mentioned already on those, try to get cooldown reduction at the others on the stats too. Okay guys, so which gems do you use? The gems, as you can see, for the gloves, it doesn't matter at the moment. I won't talk about the tier 3 gems because a lot of you guys won't be able to get the tier 3 gems yet. And for the shoulders, you should definitely go for the cooldown reduction time, as you can see. For the rest of the things here, where I don't have a specific gem, go for the beast bonus damage. As I explained already on the two-hand Darklord raid, beast bonus damage, because the last bosses of their epic dungeons are both beasts, so you're gonna deal more damage to them. For the shoes, you should definitely go for the evasion rate gems, the tier 2 gems, and for the shield block rate, obviously, and for the one hand, the crit rate. So, as you can see which stats are important. Evasion rate, shield block rate, CC time reduction, if possible, everywhere as a substat, and cooldown reduction. Those are really good for your Darklord. Crit rate is not that important, but it's nice to have a decent crit rate. I have a decent crit rate, so I'm happy with it. But as I said, those three stats are really important for your Darklord. Okay, let's talk about the skills now. I'm gonna show you 4 skill bars and explain why I picked those skill bars. But before that, let's talk about the expert skills. So if you're going for the defense Darklord, the must-have expert skills are here, the immunity one. It's gonna increase your shield block rate by 10%. Even if you don't use the active skill, the 10% shield block rate and the restoring 1% HP, max HP every time you block is really important to stay alive. The next one you also need is the attack order, so the march. Simply because of attack order, not because of the passive, it's okay. But the attack order gonna give you and your party a huge boost, guys. So it doesn't matter which build you go, always have this one. So now their expert skill death. This one, I take it always if I go do the solo contents, because it's gonna give you the damage you need to clear the solo content. But if you're doing group content, change their death to strategy, because you need the aggro control. You need that for the aggro control, so the 20% increased aggro, and you also need the madness absorption to group up the mobs and CC them and increase the aggro. Okay, so the first bar. I have 4 bars, as I said. The first bar is the solo build. I have, as you can see, those 3 spells. You can change depending on the situation, especially this one. If you have the feeling you need a little bit more damage and damage reduction, you can change the 50% defense buff to the Eternal Flames. You can also change this heal to Holy Light, so you always need 1 heal for the for the case you're low on HP. But this one is a must-have, especially because the solo build is around Follower Spirit. So that's the most damage spell here, and the reason why I have the Shield Bash in most of my bars as my auto attack is, let me show it to you guys. Every 3rd attack gonna increase my shield block rate, and with that I have close to 50% shield block rate, which is nearly cap, or which is the cap. 50% is the shield block rate cap. So that's why I have the shield bash on this. So just keep up your follower spirit with, if you're low on mana, press E to get your MP back, and keep auto attacking to regenerate MP. So basically that's the solo bit. It's quite easy and quite easy to understand, I guess. So let's move on to the second one. This one is my boss fight build. It doesn't matter if you're solo or in a group. Follower spirit is not that good on a boss fight because most of the time you have to move a lot in a boss fight. You won't be able to keep up your mana pool because you won't be able to hit the boss all the time. So you need to use your auto attacks to keep up the mana pool and to keep up their follower spirit. But that won't be the case in 90% of the boss fights. So that's why I have the Rupturing Thrust instead of the Shield Bash. The Shield Bash will give you only the 49% defense, the shield block increase if you can keep attacking the boss. So same reason like the Follower Spirit, I go for this one because this one has an additional chance to inflict more damage. So instead of Follower Spirit, you're gonna use Fire Bludgeon. I don't know how to spell that. To deal the damage, to deal boss damage. So this is your MP consumption spell. I don't know how to say it. So this is the spell you're gonna spam a lot. And Weapon Throw deals a decent amount of damage, and you can always throw it from a safe distance. If you have to move away for a certain spell, you can still keep doing damage with the Weapon Throw. Even if it has 15-second cooldown, the damage is really good. And obviously, we have here the 2 heals. I don't need the 50% MP back if I don't have the Follow Spirit, but in some cases, if a boss is CC hard, so if you use a lot of CC on you, you should swap one of those heals for the Purification, because it's gonna cleanse you from CC and your team members, obviously. Those 2 spells are always there in every bars, so those are really important, so I won't talk about that here. Okay, the next bar is my group bar, so the bar which I'm gonna take if I'm using going for group content. Obviously, I'm gonna swap my death one to strategy as I explained earlier, and I will have the Madness Absorption, and that's the spell you will have here. Madness Absorption for grouping up mobs, and you can also use take out one of those heals and put Ice Claw, because this is gonna increase your aggro too. So if you have the feeling you don't have enough aggro, change one of the heals to Ice Claw, which will increase your aggro. Okay, so 2 heals or 1 aggro and 1 heal, and maybe also Purification is viable too, and back again to Shield Bash because of your shield block increase after the 3rd attack. And you're gonna also spam Spin Attack, also because of their aggro increase. Spam it as soon as it's possible. It has a 4-second cooldown, and with this build you won't be anytime, so you don't have problems with mana with this build. So it's really sustained damage. But it's not about damage on your group bar here, it's about aggro control. And this should give you the most aggro control, and I never had a problem with aggro with this build here. So, the last one is the PvP one. For the PvP, at the moment, it's totally enough to have 1 heal only. Later, maybe if the DPS class have more damage, you can swap out this one or this one for another heal. I have the Monarch Touch, especially for the range class, so that you can grab them and pull them towards you, and you can keep them on you with the CC here. Weapon Throw also range DPS, range skill to poke the, or to finish the range class if they are running away, and same goes for the Q. R is the best heal you can have for PvP. It not only heals you situationally, you can also use it to CC them, because they're gonna that spell gonna mute the enemy player and they won't be able to cast any spells. Charge is the only gap closer, or good gap closer you have, so you have to go for that. And as I said, Rapturing Thrust, because you won't be able to keep up your shield bash, and so the block rate won't help you, so go for the Rapturing Thrust, guys. That's it, guys. I think I explained pretty much everything. I hope I didn't miss anything. If I missed anything, if you want to discuss about something I missed, write it down in the comment or join me later on my stream, and I will always help you if I can. Okay guys, so as always, thanks for watching. If you liked that video, subscribe me or let a like there, and would really appreciate it, and see you guys on the next guide.